Hey guys, it's Daniel Faust on the Learn and Live channel on Facebook and YouTube. This will be streaming out to you guys in a recorded watch party. So if you're used to live, sorry, but I'll be live on chatting. So you'll actually get to chat with me audibly and also on the chat constantly in this live. So we are in the superhero battle room this week. It is the 4th week of May, right before we roll into June. And we have an honorary guest in with us, and she's our war hero to superhero, Patti Katter. She has an amazing story that she wants to share with us on how she met her beloved and how did she go over and transform to serve our great community of military veterans and first responders. So Patti, welcome. Thanks for joining.
Thank you for having me.
Yep, and if you can go share how you met your beloved, because I'm pretty sure at first you weren't thinking coming out of the womb, you're like, I'm serving military and vets. Yeah.
I did not. I had no idea what I was doing. So when I first met Ken, my husband, he was just getting out of the Marine Corps. My friend introduced me to him. And, he told me he was in the Marines and he was really muscular. And I had no idea what was going on because I was not even 21 yet.
Ooh.
And, he acted like he was a macho guy. And I mean, he was, but I really didn't get the extent of what was going on with the military service. So when I met him, he was getting out of the Marines and then he had a 10-year break in service.
Ooh, that's a long time.
Yeah, it is. He served as a police officer in Michigan. He won the Police Officer of the Year award for the county of Saginaw, where we lived. And he loved his job, but after 9/11, he really felt it upon his heart that he wanted to serve the military community again, or the military again, I should say, our country. Our recruiters were kind of struggling to find recruits during that time because a lot of the young people didn't want to just go into war. It was kind of scary.
Of course.
But he wanted to. So I am a firm believer that you don't hold somebody back from their dreams. And so he joined the Army post 9/11. And he's still a Marine at heart. I think once a Marine, always a Marine. You hear that phrase. But he did enjoy his time in the Army. He did end up getting wounded in Iraq in 2007. So I'm kind of jumping forward here through your questions. I met him through a friend.
Awesome. So how was that transition? Because that's huge. Like you go from Marines and then you first responder as police, and then you go back into the Army. And in 2007, I'm assuming it was a while before even that transition out of the Army, because you probably went to Walter Reed and all rehabilitation and whatnot. But how long was that, and how did the transition out go?
Well, so when he was a police officer, we owned a very large home in Michigan, and we had 3 young children, and we were very family oriented. We had a really nice piece of land. We had 30 acres of land, and we went from that. We sold our property and our house and went to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, to living on post for the first year. And during that time is when I started understanding a little bit about the military community. Pretty much right when he ended up getting into Fort Bragg, he went to help clean up with Hurricane Katrina. And then right after that, they trained and they went to Iraq. So that was in 2006. He left for Iraq for a 15-month deployment. During that time, several of his battle buddies were killed in combat, and over 100 were wounded in his unit. And he was one of them who was wounded in Iraq. That was in May of 2007. So when he ended up coming home with the rest of his guys. The first night he was home, he didn't remember eating dinner. And so he was upset when he asked for dinner again. And we were laughing about it because we thought he was joking. And we thought, yeah, he probably has jet lag, he's probably just really hungry from being overseas or whatever. But literally that night he had a seizure. I ended up making him go to a doctor to get checked out. His physician at Fort Bragg immediately sent him over to neurologists who diagnosed him with a moderate to severe head injury.
Wow.
So we stayed at Fort Bragg, and he did stay in the Warrior Transition Battalion for almost 3 years.
Wow.
He was put, yeah, and it was pretty much almost unheard of too, to keep a soldier that long in Warrior Transition Battalion for medical treatment. So once he was there for medical treatment, his neurologist's like, what's going on with your neck? Because he would always be really tense. And he's like, well, it's just been hurting ever since. He was in an explosion when he was injured. He was given a Purple Heart over there. He was never really checked out because brain injury wasn't really at the top of their list when they had so many were being killed and having to be medevaced. So they checked him out. They ended up rushing him for neck surgery. And so he went through a slew of medical appointments during that time before they medically retired him in 2010.
Yeah, that's a lot to go over and deal with, because I used to work in the mental health system, and I used to do the TBI and the ANAM testing and everything else. And in that world, it was just brand new in 2010 to 2012. We finally started seeing even things of shell shock and PTSD. It's like we've had it in the past, but we really started taking those two things really seriously in those days. So I would say that's unheard of. Most medical communities, it's like 6 to 12 months max. Hey, if you can't get fixed in a year, then we just transfer you to the VA, and that's it. So at least you had some time, but you're dealing with a lot of trauma. And then if he has PTSD and injuries and everything else, you're dealing with. So how was that for those 3 years? It's almost like you had to be like a single mom, but you were taking care of your husband at the same time while the Wounded Warrior program or battalion, whatever it's called, the transition program, they were helping you. So how was that?
Actually, back then, the transition battalion wasn't very good. I had to actually go to, a news writer found me, and we went to the news because the treatment with the medical side was great. The treatment within the Warrior Transition Battalion itself was very rough because many of the cadre in that unit never had been deployed. They did not know what war was. They had a mandatory meeting about post-traumatic stress, and the cadre, they were back there laughing and making fun of the guys who had PTSD in the movie. And it was really challenging to have to sit through some of that. By the time we left, it started getting a little bit better. And years later, I still have people come to me. I had one of his staff sergeant, I think it was, came to me and apologized because she actually was like, I didn't really understand post-traumatic stress. I had never deployed, and I'm really sorry that your husband didn't get better treatment while he was in the Warrior Transition Battalion. Mind you, he stayed at home a lot. He had stay-at-home orders, but he did have to go in for formations in the morning after taking sleep medications the night before, which was challenging. So I had to get him up. I drove him everywhere. He couldn't drive due to seizures. And I had to homeschool our kids. So
Wow.
I kind of laugh and almost compare it to quarantine because I'm like, all these moms are saying that they have to homeschool their kids right now. And I homeschooled our kids for almost 4 years because of all the appointments that we had to go to. There was just no way I could have them in school and try to get my husband where he needed to go. So it was definitely trying. During that period of time, I was exhausted. I was getting burned out. I wanted the transition to go much faster, but looking back, it was really a blessing that it did take that long because he had fantastic medical notes. He had fantastic medical care for the most part. And he was able to get treated a lot better than soldiers of past.
And that's great in that regard. So 2010 came, and now you transitioned out as a milspouse, now a vet spouse and everything else. Like, how did that go? How was it? Was there any really hard points or low points during the transition? Was it simple? Like some people I meet, they're like, I got a job and that's it. I have this guy that's an engineer. He's like, I got out of service. I went to get my school. I'm now an engineer and my life is perfect and nothing ever happens. But I know that's not the norm, but maybe yours is unique. Did you have a rough transition? Was it an easy transition when you finally guys got out in 2010?
It was a little bit rough. In fact, I think because I was with him all the time at Fort Bragg for almost 3 years while he was going through the medical treatment, I actually really missed the military community. It was funny because I kept thinking, I can't wait for the day he retires. And then the day he retires, I'm like, what are we going to do? No, like, are people at home going to understand some of the things that he went through, some of the things that our family went through. I remember taking our kids to funerals of military members, and most civilians don't do that. So there was a lot that we had to all transition through, and it was difficult, but we did meet really good friends while we were at Fort Bragg, and we kept in contact with them. And in fact, a lot of things that I learned helping my husband go through all the medical transitioning and the red tape and the medical care and all that stuff, I was able to help other veterans go through some of that. So I met a fantastic soldier. His name was Joey Hart. And when I met him, he was really struggling. He was a single soldier, and our family took him under our wing. And after he ended up getting out of the military, he kept in contact with me, but he struggled with his demons. And unfortunately, he did commit suicide later. And before that happened, though, he made me promise that I would always take care of soldiers like him. And he actually went to get help for his mental illness and for post-traumatic stress. But he checked himself out early and ended up overdosing. So when he went in for treatment, we had a conversation. He was going to try to help other soldiers once he was out, and he's not able to do that. So I want to be a legacy for him, a living legacy, and for other soldiers like that.
Would you say that's the experience or transformation that brought your heart and mind to start serving in this superhero community and capacity? Was it that particular soldier, or was it a culmination of moments?
I think it was definitely a combination of moments. It was a combination of knowing fantastic Gold Star families. It was a transition of understanding what families went through during war. It was a very difficult time, as you can imagine. So I just thought that I went through these experiences, and if I let these experiences just kind of sit by the wayside, then, those experiences would be in vain, and I don't want my life experiences to be in vain.
Yeah, most people just go through these life experiences and then it just has to come in a moment's notice. Like they follow the model of exactly opposite of our business. Our business is learn and live, and our TV shows war hero to superhero. And people go over and like, you just need to live and learn. You just need to live and learn. And I'm like, how many times do you have to keep hitting the wall? Mm-hmm. How about learn from other people's mistakes and then live? And you sound like you've adopted what we go over and throw out. And that's pretty awesome. So like, as we said, that we see that you're in this superhero community, you are like everywhere. It's like, everywhere I go, you just pop up somewhere, and you're one of the few. I wish there was more, but you're one of the few that are standing out there. So I wanted you to expand on what you're doing and what work you're doing on rewriting the script for veterans.
Mm-hmm. So right now I'm volunteering for an organization. It's called Camp Comeback. And I know of a veteran who was promised by a businessman that he would be given a deep sea fishing boat. And this veteran had his hopes up for almost 2 years. He was told that. And then the businessman discovered that he had other things to do and just kind of like dropped the ball. Mm-hmm. And I have witnessed too many either nonprofits or people promising our soldiers so many things, and then they don't follow through. So I try really hard to fill in the cracks when I see soldiers or Marines slipping through the cracks. I try as hard as I can because after all, I mean, they've done so much. They've sacrificed so much. So that's what I'm doing right now. We're trying to raise money for a deep sea fishing boat. We're well on our way. And yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. And Camp Comeback is a 100% volunteer team. We do what we do because we're passionate about it. We're not getting paid for it. We have no overhead expenses. When we do have any expenses, our volunteers cover those expenses out of their pockets. So every single cent given is going to our mission, which right now our mission is deep sea healing. We've already sent this Marine out fishing 3 times now with 3 different groups of veterans, and I've seen the veterans' lives changed, and it's very much worth it.
Yeah, that's a huge transformation. I think it needs to be expounded again. This is not a normal nonprofit. A normal nonprofit says, okay, after administrative fees and everything else set and done, mm-hmm. you'll go over and say, okay, it's going to range between 60 to 80%, sometimes even 50% of the actual profits of, let's say you sell a t-shirt for $25 and you get $8 of profit. 4 of that's going to go to administrative staff covering all the logistics and operations, and then $4 go to that. You even saw that with the the combined federal campaign that we did in the military every year. You would see the percentage and you're like, I don't know if I want to donate to that monkey organization because they take 57.5% for administrative fees. You're like, first off, it's monkeys. I'm a little weird by that. And secondarily, why is it 57.5% of administrative fees? So that's how I see that you're rewriting the script. And I want the audience to understand that these people that are volunteering for this nonprofit, they're profiting nothing. So they're working other jobs, they're doing other things in that regard. So everything that you go over and you see the ticker down there for the t-shirt website that they have, all the profits from that t-shirt goes towards that. So if you go on there and you purchase a t-shirt, and can you describe what the t-shirts look like?
Yeah, they're actually dry fit shirts. So people who are going to be enjoying the summertime outside, these dry fit shirts, they're SPF 30 plus, so it helps protect you from sun. And they're really cool feeling. I don't mean they look cool, but they do. They look super cool. But they actually feel really cool when you're outside. I actually, I wear the long sleeve shirts that we have, and they're phenomenal. They keep you cool when it's hot out and help protect you from the sun. So they have our Camp Come Back logo on the front of the shirt. And then on the front, I think it's the left corner. And then on the back, there's a sailfish on the back. So they look really sharp. They are patriotic looking. So the back design has the red and the blue. And you can pick a variety of colors, sizes. We have men's small all the way up to, I think it's 4XL.
If I remember correctly, yes, yeah.
Yeah. Then we have women's sizes, youth sizes. So that's awesome.
And that's really cool. So we want to share a couple of superhero tactics that you're going to learn in this transformation process. And then we have a special surprise to give you. So let's see if you can share those superhero tactics that you've learned in this transformation process.
I think that for me, I learned that when my heart tells me to do something, to follow that, to always go with my gut instinct. There were a couple times that I kept thinking, oh my goodness, I feel like giving up because like helping veterans because it's so stressful. But every time I would turn around, then there would be a veteran next to me that needed help. I remember one time at the beach, I was like, okay, God, I'm just going to go to the beach and I'm going to get away from everything. And I want you to show me a sign of something that I'm supposed to be doing. And I'm sitting there. I have a Whoopee out on the beach. I use those at the beach. And I will never forget this Vietnam veteran come up and plopped his stuff right down next to mine. And we had the entire beach to ourselves. So go with your heart, go with your gut, because that's what you just need to do that. I mean, so I think that's just the biggest tactic right there.
You got any more, or is that just 1 into 3?
I think that's just, I mean, that's the biggest thing. Help other people. I do believe that kind of what goes around comes around. I've been blessed many times by veterans who I've been able to help, and that was not my intention. So I think just treat people the way that they're supposed to be treated, follow through on your promises, and listen to your heart.
Awesome. That was really cool. And like I said, she's our honorary war hero superhero. So pretty awesome that you're going over and doing this and helping veterans in their next mission. So we at Learn and Live and War Hero Superhero wanted to bless you guys from the 26th of May until the 26th of June. And we do this once a month. We usually go to a nonprofit, either if we're interviewing them or if we connect with them, and we go donate our proceeds. So 75% of our proceeds of all our shirts that are ordered. So if you're watching this live or on the replay, $6 of every $8 that we profit, I'm going to be public, that's how much we make on the t-shirts, that every out of $8, $6 will go to your guys' Camp Comeback to help in the process. So if you guys want to order, you have shirts like this that I go over and wear. We have our War Hero to Superhero logo. And if you guys want to help and have some awesome designs that you want to contribute to help grow, we can go do that too and work that out. But for the next month, from May 26th until June 26th, any profits that we get, 75% will go to Camp Comeback, just straight from us to you. Don't even have to worry about the tax deduction, whatever. We'll just give it as a straight donation. So don't worry about all those fees. We don't like doing that unless it's super, super major. So obviously, guys, if you want to rock it out and we have to do tax things, buy like crazy. You know what I'm saying? So we're fine doing tax paperwork if it gets past that point of $600. But that's our heart and our goal. So guys, if you're watching our lives, you see us on the virtual summit, you see us wherever we go, and you say, hey, I want that t-shirt, you're not only just contributing to learn and live in War Hero Superhero, but the majority of those proceeds for the month will go to Camp Comeback. So we wanted to gift you that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yep. So we wanted to go over and gift you that. And secondarily, one of the things that we also do with all our visitors and guests is that your live or watch party is going to be streaming on Tuesday. So when you guys see this on Tuesday, if you want to take Patti and bring her to the next level on our TV show, which is broadcasted on 15 different platforms across the world in 184 countries, War Hero to Superhero, you got to watch this video. 3 seconds is the requirement. All Facebook and YouTube is required. So we want you to watch until 25 minutes in. Of course, we want you to get the content. But if you can try to support Patti in her nonprofit and what she's going and doing, just watch her 3 seconds. If she gets the most views in 3 days from when it airs, from Tuesday to Friday, she'll get elevated to our TV show. And then we might have some other surprises and gifts to go do when it gets to the TV show level. So we wanted to give that. We do that for all our War Hero to Superhero interviews in our 4th week. So you have some competition. I got interviews this week, but if you know how to rock it out, just get, a 3-second view and then you'll get elevated to the show. So
thank you. Thank you so much. I do appreciate you. We don't pay for any advertising for Camp Comeback. So this is extremely important. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So that's, we hope that we can go over and serve you in that regard. And guys, hopefully you guys are watching this and liking this and sharing this out, and hope we can bring more War Heroes to Superheroes to elevate military veterans and first responders. And Patti, I want to thank you for joining us on this impromptu interview, but it will be a very powerful interview to pass on. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We will see you all up in the real world. So we're going to punch out for now. And don't forget, this is always a conversation. You can always join us at any time. Thanks.